Nope.
Dude, it's so dope. It's so fun.
I can't do anime. The closest I can get to it is
wrestling.
Yes! Vindicated!
I should have saw that one coming.
With that, I feel like we're feeling kind of like we could argue a bit over certain things, and so let's bring this in. Welcome back to Five's a Crowd. If you didn't catch it last time, unfortunately, we are four's a group this time around. Our buddy Chris cannot make it, so we have a candlelight vigil here for our buddy.
But he'll be back next time.
We hope.
No, we won't.
Unless Cam, puts these out of order like he did our last episode.
Hey, that was on me.
Oh, okay.
That was.
Okay.
I sat down to edit, and I looked at the calendar and saw he mixed it, so I was like, all right.
I had intention, and then I realized after that it wasn't really important. Because there was something that we talked about in that episode. I don't remember what, but I was like, it's relevant, so we need to get it up so that we don't pass the relevancy.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was right. You were right.
But then I realized that in doing so, it kind of ruined
The genealogy
the
deal.
flow of the jokes.
It's all good.
My bad.
It's all good.
Depending on how you watch this or how we post this in order, Chris will be back in either 2 weeks or next week.
It's a surprise. You never know.
Surprise, mother.
Keep it on your toes.
But we've got Cam, Austin, Zach, myself, Tony. We're going to have ourselves a fun little debate night. We're going to throw out some fun debates, maybe some deeper stuff. We'll see what happens.
Since Chris isn't here, can we do food debates?
You got one in mind?
No. I just know Chris hates the food debates.
So do I, though.
No, you hate the who would win in a fight between.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
it's also just because I'm not very well educated. And that's why I was saying is if we could have thrown the debates in prior, I could have done my research. So then I could have brought some meat to the table.
It's true.
Otherwise, I'm just like, yeah.
So on the debate thing, I just happen to be... we're trying to find a good cell phone for Brinley. And so I turned to Reddit to just see. I was like, I wonder if Reddit, if I put in like best cell phone and I started to type best and come to find out there's a subreddit called just best. And so then I was kind of reading through some of those and I happened to come across one that reminded me of you because it was who would win in a fight between. And it was, I can remember two of them. Who was the third? Oh, it was who would win in a fight between James Bond, Jason Bourne, and John Wick. And this one comment, this guy went into depth. Like he had it laid out. He's like, first off, James Bond's out. Like,
that's a lot of detail. I like it.
I mean, he's gonna be killed right out the gate.
Where who gets the girl, it's Bond, obviously. But
but and part of the question was too that not only are they in a fight, but they have the artillery. Is that the word?
Yeah.
That they actually have. So like. And they go into that. They're like, well, Wick then in that case has the bulletproof suit. He's got all the guns, that type of thing. But Bourne is literally a trained killing machine. He's got the most training of the three. And so, but then it's like Bond. He's got all of his little gadgets and stuff, but let's be honest, Bond's going to be gone. I don't
know which Bond are we talking? Daniel Craig?
The character. That's just it. So.
I mean, but 007 is an agent number. It's like an assigning.
Yeah.
It's not the character. So are we talking like Daniel Craig?
Well, actually, so I remember there's always been debate about that. All of the different actors were always playing the same person.
Yeah. Are you sure?
Yes.
Positive.
Yes. Because in the Daniel Craig ones, he goes to his childhood home.
And
Bond, it's like Bond Manor. Like
it's in Skyfall. Mm-hmm. In Skyfall, he goes to the Bond Manor. He is James Bond.
Like that's his actual name. Because I was with you for a long time. It's a code 007.
Yeah.
And I thought James Bond was a code name because I was like, what spy is dumb enough to tell everybody in the world his freaking name?
James Bond.
James Bond.
Bond.
James Bond. And he tells you twice to get it right.
He's just that confident.
Yep.
Until he meets up with Wick, John Wick.
Can you imagine that?
Bourne,
So John Wick
Jason
would even.
Bourne.
That's why Bond would lose, is because John Wick would just shoot while he was like Bond. It would just be done.
Well, and so one of the arguments with Wick too was his high pain tolerance. The guy clearly takes a beating, and he can still fight. But anyway, I don't want to get into that because I know you
Well,
don't.
you've already opened the can of
Yeah,
worms.
that's
So
what
what was the
Way to
synopsis?
start that one off,
So
Tony.
honestly, it depends.
You're just like a woman. You're like, well, this was this one, and then, but we don't need to talk about it. Okay.
did
Now we're talking about it.
did Jason
What is
Bourne did Jason Bourne kill John Wick's dog?
That's a good point.
That's the breaker right there.
That's a good
So-
point.
Or did John Wick kill Jason Bourne's girlfriend?
Or did they kill each other's?
So to be honest, we were right in the middle of watching Halo, and so I never actually finished reading it. I started reading it when we were taking like a bathroom break. Jenny had to run and do something. And so I started reading it, and then when she came back, we started our episode again. So I never finished reading it. So I don't know what this guy's outcome was.
I kind of think, well, what's your outcome?
I think, given the way the question was worded, and they have the artillery, John Wick. The guy, that scene in, is it the second one when he goes to the wine sampling and gets to see all the guns, and then he gets the suit tailored to him that's bulletproof. Like, the guy's, he's ready.
And he was trained on the streets.
He's dirty.
He's dirty.
I don't know, man. Close
Yaga.
combat. I'm taking Jason Bourne from a distance.
I don't
I'm
know.
taking Wick.
John Wick killed a dude with a pencil.
That's what I'm saying. Close.
But then
Yeah.
Bourne did
Bourne.
stab someone with a pen.
Yeah. And what is it, the third one? He fights the guy with a rolled up magazine.
That's right.
I think Bourne might have this one.
Bourne, I
Actually.
think Bourne
Hard
might have
one.
it, man.
Do you remember that TV show? I think it was on Discovery or History or something, where they would take like
I love that show.
you know exactly
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
know
talking
exactly
about.
what
They
you're
would
talking
take
about.
like history's greatest warriors and actually crunch
was-
all the data.
It was called Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
so good.
I
it-
loved watching the like jelly molds where they like hack at them and stuff.
There's this show
Sorry.
called I think it's called like Forged in Iron or something like that on Netflix.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
It's not quite like that. Like they don't.
I think it's just forged in fire.
Is that what it is? Forged in Fire. They don't put situations up, but they have them make these weapons, and then they test the weapons on different things.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
They should do a celebrity death match between John Wick and Jason Bourne.
The claymation celebrity
dude.
death match.
Yes.
Remember that show? Kind of creeped me out.
It's on Paramount Plus.
Like new.
There's a few new episodes. Yeah.
Because there should be a Pete Davidson
real?
and a Kanye. There should be a Will and a Chris and a.
Yeah.
There's quite a few that should be going on.
Okay, but I have a question I came across that's a little more serious, and I don't have like any. Well, I have my answer, but no like hit.
Bring it on.
What is the best or most important subject in grade school, and why?
Most important subject
So I
in
feel like
grade school.
best and most important. I feel like would have different answers.
Okay. And when I say grade school, I mean K through 12.
Oh,
Best and most important.
So my answer on this, just kind of thinking about it, is English. And the reason I say that, living in America, the reason I say that is you have to learn your alphabet and learn how to read to get anywhere.
Yeah.
oh yeah. It's one of the most important basic skills you need to have.
Yeah. So that's my answer, because I feel like everything else evolves from there.
Man, I don't know.
See, because I would say the best was woodshop, because I had a great time, learned a ton about like doing stuff myself, how to build things, all that stuff, use all the machines. And my woodshop class in Colorado, we would do a cardboard boat regatta every year. So we'd spend like a week building boats out of cardboard and duct tape, and we'd race them in the pool.
Nice.
It was great.
I would almost argue that today would almost be like some sort of computer tech class,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I feel like if you're not learning computers, if you're not learning technology and all that stuff, like going forward, it's going to be a rough time.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
See, but
Because
even with that, though, I feel like you still need to be able to read and write.
yeah, and I'm not saying
Yeah.
that English isn't important.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's not
The most
the
important.
most important. You know what I mean? Like it's still up there.
This is the debate.
I know.
See, because,
So if you couldn't read or write,
yeah, if you're putting
then you wouldn't be able to program a computer.
But are we saying that they could only take one class?
No, I'm just saying which is the most important. So let's just say the most important class is the one that they focus on 99%. And then they have the others just thrown in there like electives.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Philosophy?
No, dude. Yeah, no, gender studies.
Notice
Basket weaving.
none of us are jumping on math.
Home ec.
It's because I got a calculator
Dude,
in my
I
pocket.
still know how to sew because of that one class.
Zach?
I have no clue, to be honest. I want to say English, but then my senses are like,
What about math, though?
exactly. Then I'm starting to think about all the other stuff. Math.
Because you think about it, math is kind of its own language.
Yeah.
I did have a small class in like 7th grade that taught me how to do finances a little bit. I mean, I know that that's kind of a dead thing, but I was taught how to write a check.
Well,
I was taught how to do,
But
balance money and
Florida
stuff.
just passed a law that you now have to take a financial course as a Common Core before you
a
can
financial literacy course.
Yeah, financial literacy course before you can graduate from high
See,
school.
but would
and
you?
I-
Why do we live in Utah? Let's go to freaking Florida,
Dude,
man.
have you seen Dexter? That's why we don't live in
We
Florida.
won't be in Miami, dude. Let's go to like Orlando.
I listened to a murder podcast on a weekly, and I would say 90% of those murders are taking place in Florida.
That's a Florida man, dude.
It's just one man.
One
A
guy.
Florida man.
He ate bath salts years ago, and he's still going.
Right?
I will say every crazy video I ever come across in Reddit is always based in Florida. I don't
So
know
true,
why.
dude.
I do not know
Because they're
why.
living it up out there.
Florida's just having some fun.
On all
But I-
spectrums, people go there to retire.
Yep.
But no, so would you classify finance classes under math though?
Not really.
no.
I kind of think I'm leaning towards Tony because it does make sense. If you think of the very basics, you have to have good English skills, being able to read, write, all that stuff, to do all of the other things.
Yeah,
'Cause all
I
of
mean,
it
you need to be able
involves-
to understand instruction.
I mean,
Uh-huh.
you just take it all the way back to kindergarten. They're teaching them the alphabet first.
Yeah.
Heck, my kid knows the alphabet, knows all the letters, even
Yeah.
before kindergarten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, but I don't know. I might even throw math into that subject because
Math, I would say, especially just the basic math. Like not when you start
Remedial?
getting up into like algebra. And
When you
all
start
that.
getting up into multiplication and division,
When you're adding letters into that,
Right?
that's
enough.
where I would say
Far enough.
multiplication and division is the like stops there.
well,
And then when you have to start doing proofs and throwing letters in there and
Dude,
shapes.
that was always a smart A. They're like, why is this the way it is? I'm like, because it is.
So
You can see the answer. It's
when
right.
it's like, show your work. No, I just know the answer.
yeah.
if you're looking for a real argument, I mean, we wouldn't have the world that we have without math or science.
Or written red word.
But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like if we're talking most important as far as technology goes, as far as like building houses and structures and all that, math and science play a huge role.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I get
you
that.
can talk to me all you want, but how the hell are you going to build a house?
Well,
I'm going to read the instruction
How are you going to
manual.
build a cell phone?
I'm going to
What
read
about-
the
Okay,
book on
but how
it.
are you going to measure it? How are you going to
The book will tell me. I'll read the ruler
do the math to do it?
because I read it in a book how to
But the
do
book
it.
didn't. The book would have been like, you got 20 bananas and 20 coconuts.
Yeah,
How many
dude.
strawberries is the donkey carrying?
Trick question. He didn't have any. It was a horse.
You know what I mean?
let
Yeah.
me throw
Like
this
if
one.
we're really throwing out like what's most important as far as like science and engineering and all that stuff goes, like you wouldn't have any of the necessities to survive without them.
But at the same time, let's throw this one out there. I mean, we live in the United States. There are a lot of Spanish speaking people who have migrated over.
They built those pyramids.
In Mexico.
Well, I know a few of them, and there are a lot of Spanish speaking people out there who don't know very well, how to speak English. They really struggle with the situation, but they've got to be financially stable or else they're not going to make it. And they are I know a lot of people who I deal with on a daily basis who run these gas stations and stuff like that. Oh, they are financially stable. They know how to manage their finances and they know how to do it. So I feel like
It's a fair
I don't know, man. There's a lot of people surviving that are not financially literate.
Yep. But they can read.
well, here's the other funny thing too. I've made fun of my wife for this. She is not financially stable. If it weren't for me and she managed the finances, we would be broke as broke can be.
But you'd still be living.
No.
And reading.
We wouldn't be living. I might have taken that shortcut off of a big tall cliff.
Emphasis on the we might not be living.
Ejectocito, cuz.
Nice.
Oh gosh. Okay. Here's a super random, funny one. I think I kind of asked this the other day, but it's been going around the internet.
Oh, don't you dare.
I'm gonna do
Don't
it.
you dare.
Are there more doors or wheels in the world?
This is stupid. On to the next.
This
More
question,
doors or wheels?
this question boils down to what do you consider a door and what do you consider a wheel?
A wheel's a wheel. A door's a door.
But you could argue that like cabinets are doors.
Are they not?
That's my point.
It's a door.
See, when I
But
think
what
of
makes it
when
a
I
door?
think of a
'Cause
door,
it's
I
called a
think of a
cabinet
door
door.
that I can walk through.
No,
Okay,
it's called
something
a
that I can-
cabinet.
Exactly.
Cabinet door.
See, but when you say door, I think of something that I can personally open up and walk through.
There's some big cabinets out there.
Like are bearings considered wheels?
No,
Why not?
Why not? They
because
make
bearing is a ball.
yeah, that they make things go round.
Yeah, but it doesn't have an axle.
Sure it does. I got to think about it. I'm like, it does too.
Oh, so even if we define the terms, okay?
Okay,
So-
is a
so-
ball a wheel?
a ball? No.
Are you sure?
Let's
Yes.
say a door is something.
Yes. Okay. Let's.
If I
But you
put-
can make
if
a
I
ball
put-
into a wheel.
If I put a bunch of balls on the ground and I put a board on it and I can slide,
That's
are
now
those
a wheel.
not wheels?
Yes,
No.
that's a wheel.
no, it's not.
What? That's my point, though. Is like, what? How can you?
Why is that a
classify-
point though? Because we know the answer is no.
How is it not a
You're
wheel?
thinking you know the answer. You don't.
A circular object that revolves on an axle and is fixed below a vehicle or other object
Okay.
to enable it to move easily over the ground. Where's the
So
axle?
a ball
Where's
is
the
rolling
axle?
on an axis,
No, it's
which
not.
is
No, axle, not axis.
I'm just
Axle.
saying. And read the rest of it.
I did. An object that revolves on an axle.
Uh-huh.
No. That's where your argument loses. You have no axles.
All right, fine. So is a Lego wheel a wheel?
Yes.
Yes.
What about a gear?
No, because it's not fixed below a vehicle or other object to enable it
but
to
it
move
is.
easily over the ground.
But wait, a Lego wheel is not a wheel until you put an axle onto it. So therefore, just a regular Lego wheel, that's not a wheel.
You know, you might be right.
But as soon as you connect it together with another wheel and a part of an axle, now it's a wheel.
Okay.
But
There
at
you
that
go.
point,
By your
but at that point,
explanation.
is it a gear?
No, because
No.
it's fixed under a vehicle.
Yeah.
But
or an
what-
object
but
that can move easily across
but the
the ground.
same object could be taken to concept with Austin. You have a couple of balls and you somehow manage to put them together with an axle and now they turn into a wheel.
Yes.
So we're back to the beginning.
Okay.
How many doors? How many
How many doors?
wheels?
How many wheels?
I hate this question.
This is why it's such a good one.
No.
Wouldn't you prefer who would win in a
Okay,
fight
here you
between?
go. You ready? You ready for
No,
this? I'll
I
help
do.
you out with the
What?
door, okay?
Yes.
A hinged, sliding, or revolving barrier at the entrance to a building, room, or vehicle, or in the framework of a cupboard.
Would a locker door count?
I think so, right?
hinged.
That's like the framework of a cupboard,
It's on a hinge.
and it's on a hinge.
Why was
All
it-
doors, car doors. Those are all qualifying doors. In a building,
I think
room,
I would
vehicle.
still say wheels.
So here's the question too. You have a car that has, let's say your common car has 4 doors. Would it only have 2 sets of wheels or would it have 4?
4.
Has 4 wheels.
Well, no,
Well,
because
but a wheel
because
itself
if you
is not.
2 wheels together on an axle makes revolving, but
It's
if you
not
separate
one wheel.
if you separate them, they are no longer a wheel anymore according to your
if
standards
it's not
of
on
its.
the axle, no. 2 wheels on one axle does not make one wheel.
But according to what you were saying, though, if you take them off the axle, they are no longer a wheel because they're
Okay.
not on an axle.
So all those
axle.
all
and
those
you can
tires.
use that, but that still doesn't make both of them on the same axle become one
So
thing.
that means if there's tires laying around, like
not on an axle?
not an axle, they're no longer a wheel.
Okay.
That's what
car
I'm getting.
still has 4.
But that's what I'm getting at is a car would technically only have 2.
You sound
No,
like you're
that
really
doesn't make
fighting
sense.
for doors here.
For 2
No,
reasons.
I'm just trying to figure this out because I'm going off of Austin's things earlier.
I'm trying to think.
Here's
here.
the thing, though, is your logic doesn't make sense. One, the 2 front wheels are not conjoined on a single axle. 2, the rear wheels can be made the same argument because inside the differential are 2 separate axles interacting with a system of gears.
That's true.
So if you want to get real technical, you're still wrong.
I'm just saying you're the one that defined it as an axled area.
Yes,
So all those
you are
tires,
correct.
all those tires burning are not wheels.
but in order-
they are.
The argument, your argument is that 2 round objects conjoined on one axle now become one object.
Yeah, one revolving together.
No. They don't revolve together all the time, for one. But
That's where the differential
that's what I'm
comes
saying is
into
like
play.
I'm just saying you're wrong in the sense of them being one thing. There's still 2 wheels because they're both on an axle and they're both round objects that help it move.
I get what you're
That's
saying
what
about
I'm
a
saying.
car. Okay. What about a Lego set?
Same. It doesn't. The axle doesn't make them become one object.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do. On a Lego set, you put them together. Now they're hooked together.
There's
They go.
still 2.
You take one off, and
you
the
have
other
one.
one can't go.
It can still spin. And you
Okay.
have one.
Okay, let's move on.
No, this is great.
And then, so
So then,
the
based
problem I
on
have with this
definition-
is that the definition requires an axle because a wheel can still be a wheel without it being attached to something.
Are you making my argument for me?
No. Your argument was that it had to be on an axle for it to be a wheel.
Yes.
That was my argument to give you a definition. I still think like a wheel on a car. I think of it more of if
So
it can go on an axle or not, it's considered a wheel. See what I'm saying?
So if it's capable of an axle,
yes.
then it's a wheel.
Yeah.
So like
Okay,
going
that's
back to
better.
your
That makes
So if,
more sense.
so if I drilled a bunch of holes through balls on the ground that could have an axle,
Yeah.
that
so
now
all
is
those
considered a wheel.
marbles are now considered wheels?
There you go.
I'd li-
Take. Well, go ahead.
no,
I feel like yeah.
in that case, wheels hands down because you could drill a hole through every single ball.
It's got to be round. So yeah, balls work. I was just didn't want you guys getting crazy with like squares and other shapes.
Just saying.
Yeah, it's just it literally is just a circular. Ooh, see now it says circular.
See, think of like a
Is a
rollerblade
sphere-
has
a
4
sphere is a
wheels.
circle.
You can see. Have you,
You
seen
have a
those
kid on a
spheres?
rollerblades. He's
Yep.
got 8 wheels under his feet.
True.
Yep. Unless by your logic, that's one.
I mean, I feel
I was
like
going by your logic, Mister. It's going to be an axle.
Just logic.
I think there has to be more wheels than doors. There has to be.
I feel like
I mean,
you're
unless you
right.
think of like there's those multi-million-dollar houses that has who knows how many cupboards in it, and there's a door to every cupboard.
And even when you
But-
think about cars, cars almost always have like is a trunk a door?
Or like a glove compartment.
Right, dude? This
The
is,
little middle console, is that a door?
see, that's what's wild about this question.
Oh, okay, hang on. When is it a door and when is it a lid?
Oh.
Like you take a cupboard,
Yeah.
turn it so now the door is on the top and now you're lifting it up, putting stuff in and closing it from the top. Does it now become a lid?
No, it's still on a.
Hinge.
Still on a hinge. So it's still a door?
I
So
still
a
would
lid-
base
a
a
lid
door
doesn't have a
with
hinge?
a hinge.
So like a toy box. Like that's a
That
door.
would be a door.
A lid is a removable or a hinged cover
It is
good
hinged.
for
hell.
the top of a container.
Son of a.
See, it all depends on how you.
But it does say
define
for
it.
the top of a container. So I feel like you're correct. In
So
like,
it's like-
as soon as you turn it this way, it's now a lid.
So your armoire tips over. It now has
No
it now
more
has a-
doors.
those doors turn to lids.
Let's see who did
Oh
the
my
math. Who did
gosh.
the math? Who did the math?
Did someone actually?
I mean, there's an
gotta be
entire
somebody.
Reddit called "Who Did the Math" or "Do the Math" or something like that, where people do crazy, insane calculations. I'm just curious. If I was a betting man, I'd say wheels.
I feel like I
gotta-
want to say wheels.
I'm gonna say Wills.
I would say wheels.
Twitter asks an MIT
Like-
professor.
I use doors more than wheels, so like my brain is wanting to think doors, but like logically thinking there's got to be more wheels. What do you guys think?
I don't know, man. There's a lot of freaking
Dude,
doors in this
everyone's-
world.
It's one of those things where everyone's torn. Like there was somebody put it on Twitter, had over 220,000 votes, and it was 53% wheels, 46% doors. So it's really close.
Jeez.
I got these wheel boobies.
I got these wheel boobies.
That episode cracks me up.
Is that
man.
ridiculousness?
Yeah.
No, that's
Oh, it's
Fantasy Factory.
yeah.
That was one of my. I
He's
think it was my
dressed as
favorite
Skatey,
episode.
Yeah.
and he's got the
If you don't have
the skateboard wheels.
Skatey's gonna get you one. I don't think this is a question that will ever be officially answered. There's no way. Unless that guy dies and asks God.
Gosh, I hate that question.
Here's one for you.
Okay.
This one's interesting. So let's say you have a person who commits a crime. Let's say murders someone.
Okay.
Okay. But let's say they find out 2 years down the road that this is the person, yada yada. This person had something happen to them and they now have no recollection whatsoever of doing anything of this thing.
Like amnesia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this person guilty still or not guilty?
Yes.
I don't see why they're not.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you'd argue that they're not the same person.
It's
That's-
more so
that's-
should you punish the person? I think they're still guilty no matter what because they did it in a frame of mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now the argument is should you still punish them even though with losing your memory you could completely change your personality?
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
you
that's
are.
What if they're
it's-
like straight up a serial killer, get into an accident, go into a coma. When they wake up from a coma, now they're just little like poster child.
Like a saint.
Yeah.
Well, that's
the demon has left the building type thing.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's interesting. I've actually found that question because listening to the murder podcast I listened to, they actually ran into a guy who
That
literally
happened?
he had murdered someone, And then it was like 5 or 10 years down the road, got into a serious accident and had a lot of brain damage, stuff like that. And he's there, but he's not all the way there. But he also lost a lot of his long-term memory. He has no recollection of anything that happened.
Really?
And nothing. And he's actually like talking to the guy. It's like, he's actually a good stand-up guy. Like, people don't have a lot of issues with him. You would have never thought that he would have committed this murder.
How do they know he doesn't remember, like lie detector tests and stuff? Or
It's medically, like they just know medically that it's not there. Like he just,
Like that part of his brain's missing or
Yeah.
something.
see, I think the question is more like he's still guilty. Like he was there, he did do it. But now, like Cam said, the question is, how do you punish him?
Or do you? Or is the loss of memory in your life the punishment?
but then you've got the family who wants the punishment for it. But
Then that family needs to learn about forgiveness.
I don't know, man.
All right?
That's
It's
tough.
hard.
Like, I don't know.
Because here's the other thing, okay? Is it really going to be fulfilling to them punishing a man who doesn't feel like he's done any wrong?
that would be my hard thing, is because maybe you've got this guy on the stand who just bawling his eyes out like, I would never do this, I'm so sorry. But there is physical 100% evidence that it was him.
Well, I mean, that's
But
the
in his-
insanity plea, right?
Yeah, but in his head, he just knows that I did not do this. And so you're going to send a guy to jail,
So
maybe
here-
for life, on
okay.
something that he 100% believes that he
So
did not do.
here's I guess a better question referencing that. Say a drunk driver flying down the street hits a car, kills one of the passengers in the other car, but in turn hits their head so hard, doesn't remember any of it, doesn't remember.
What? Not even hitting their head. I mean, it's possible to be
Blacking
so
out.
blackout drunk that you don't remember.
Yeah, but I mean, like, yeah. So let's just say, for argument's sake, they smacked their head. They
Okay.
lost all recollection, short-term memory, stuff like that. Does the time frame change your opinion or sway? Like, is the fact that it happened recent sway your opinion versus 5-10 year gap?
I think in that particular example, I would still be furious because he was drinking and driving.
Mm-hmm.
So memory has nothing to do with it.
Because
But do you see do you see how it's similar?
A little.
Here's my thing though as well on that, because
Or are you talking premeditated
I was
murder?
going to say murder's like a premeditated thing. Like you, in your own mind, you knowingly made the choice to kill someone. Drunk driver didn't knowingly, like he didn't make those decisions
In a
to
right
kill
mind.
someone.
It wasn't
How
in a
about-
right mind.
right state of mind. I mean, I was gonna say I've listened to, heard about a lot of stories about drunk drivers who, almost their punishment is they now have to live with it the rest of their lives that they
did it.
Yeah.
did that.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times that actually sobers a lot of these people up.
See, and I would kind of do it that way. Like knowing that you killed somebody innocent, I think is punishment enough. But it's kind of a thing where like, if you ever and this is hard too, because you don't want them to accidentally kill someone else.
Exactly.
But like if this ever happens again, it's life in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
You know what I mean?
How about
With the
what
drunk
if we-
driver, I was gonna say with the drunk driver incidents, it would almost be punishment where if you're not gonna serve time in jail, maybe you have your license impeded for the rest of your life. It's not gonna say that they can't get behind a car ever again, but maybe you take steps that they don't ever or can't. It's gonna be a lot more difficult for them to get behind the wheel of a car.
Yeah.
But
What if we take it down a notch and instead of murder, let's say they robbed a bank and they take all this money and then same type of deal. What if they, get into an accident, don't even get to spend the money? What if they're like on their getaway?
they hide it somewhere and forget where they
hide,
hid it.
Yeah, they hide it, get into an accident, the whole amnesia deal. Now they don't even remember robbing the bank, let alone where they hid the money or anything. Same type of. Do you still punish
I
the
mean-
guy for robbing the bank?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I see. And that's that gray area. My friend, who was going through doctorate school, there was a test, or I don't even know if it was like a test, but they had a whole bunch of questions of like similar, where there's a lot of gray area, and they just wanted to see how you thought as a doctor, like where you swayed, and like there was no correct or obvious answer. It was
almost just opinionated.
He would ask me those questions, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know how.
Could you remember one?
I can't remember any off the top of my head. Can you pull? I don't know if there any simple way of searching for them.
Actually, well, I might have one if I can remember this thing. So there was this kid who like got in an accident, and he was so bad that he like slipped into a coma, and it got to the point where the doctors were like, "Hey, he's most likely never coming out of this. Like his vitals are terrible. He's not doing well. Like he's probably gonna die, but he can save someone's life with the organs if he donates them. But we need, if that's the case, in order to donate these, we need to pull the plug on him like soon
to save the
ASAP,
organs
and to possibly save someone else. Whereas if time goes on and he naturally dies, those organs are no longer viable. So now you have that medical question: do you pull the plug on someone who's got an extremely small chance of coming out of it to save someone else's life that you 100% know you can save?
Yes. So it's a for sure versus a
possibility.
I feel like that comes down. This is like a funny example. I just saw the preview to it, so it's in my head. Have you seen the movie 21? About the true story about the kid that can count cards. He was like a math genius.
I think I have.
So he goes to Vegas and counts cards. It's got Kevin Spacey in it.
Yeah. I have seen it.
Anyway, there's a part.
Is that where he's like? Is that where the meme comes from with all the numbers?
No,
No,
that's the Hangover.
No, that came from a different movie.
Rain Man.
Yeah,
Yes,
you're thinking of Rain
that's what I'm
Man.
thinking
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, in 21, there's a scene when he's in Kevin Spacey's classroom, and he's got the 3 different chalkboards, and he's talking about, he's like, hey, you're on a game show, and it's like, you get to pick from door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3. Between 2 or behind 2 doors is goats, and behind one of the doors is a car. And so pick a door, any door. And so he's like, all right, I pick 3. He's like, okay. He's like, now before I open, or I think in the example, he opens the door, and he's like, hey, it's a goat. Now, you know that behind one of these other doors is a goat and one is the car. No, that's what he does. He has him pick a door, and then he opens another door that he knows is a goat. And so now he's like, do you want to stay with the same door you picked, or do you want to pick a different one?
So like deal or no deal.
Yeah. And he's like, I want to pick a different door. And he's like, now why? And he goes into this whole math thing, explaining how, like, well, at first I had a 33% chance of picking the right door, and now by you eliminating this and this, and he's like saying all these numbers, and he comes down to he changes doors because like mathematically it makes more sense. Mm-hmm. So back to the question, I would say pull the plug and take the more like mathematically correct route and 100% save someone's life.
What if it was your kid?
F that.
So there's a story to this. This is a true story. So,
Gosh,
this guy's son ended up in a coma after a terrible accident. He was so upset by the doctors coming in and asking that he like left the hospital, like he had to go take a breather. While he was gone, his wife and his older son like kept talking to the doctors and heard more of their side and what they were thinking and what they were trying to do. Ended up deciding to pull the plug. The dad comes back and hears about all this, outraged. He actually goes and gets a gun, comes back to the hospital, and stops them from turning off anything, from unplugging any systems, forces them out, waves the gun around, all this stuff. And the whole time he's like on his son, he's like, please show me a sign you're there. Show me a sign you're okay. Show me a sign you're coming back. And, you know, SWAT teams come in, all this stuff. Well, this goes on for a while. SWAT eventually goes in, goes for the dad, and he throws himself again onto his son, and he grabs his son's hand, and his son squeezes his hand and wakes up from the coma. Had the dad not done that and not given him more time, they would have pulled the plug and he would have died.
That's a real story?
That's a real story.
Really?
Gosh,
Yep.
that gives me chills.
Oh my gosh.
Well, then I don't know.
And the son, he woke up, he recovered, and he's doing well, and like
And the other person died.
all because I don't know. They didn't go into that, but they could have gotten. I don't think
another-
they had a specific person they were going to give it to, but they needed the organs fresh
Just
to
to-
give it to somebody.
Oh man, I don't like that one.
Yeah,
boy.
when my friend was going through that class and he had a whole bunch of them and we talked on the phone for like 2 hours just going through them. There's some you can definitely create some crazy scenarios where you know, I mean, you could do the same thing for like the whole argument against autonomous driving,
Yeah.
right? So you're in a car, you're not even driving, but someone had to engineer the AI that is driving the car, that if something were to happen, it's got to react. And as the engineer, they're the ones making the coding. Oh, you're trying them.
That was
I'll
Cinnamon
come back
Toast
to
Crunch,
it.
wasn't it?
What?
What are you eating?
Oh, was that?
Finish what you're saying.
Anyway,
whatever was
the
sitting
engineering came back, and it basically boils down to, say the car is coded to avoid a school bus, but instead hits a car and kills the passengers in the other car. Who's at fault for killing those people? Is it the person behind the wheel that wasn't driving, or is it the engineer that coded it to then favor not hitting a school bus?
Here's my question. The person who wasn't driving, could they have taken control of the car or the vehicle?
Say they're in one of those cars that doesn't have a steering wheel. But
Then
they're
at that point, it's the suit of the company.
yeah, I don't know.
Because my thing is if you can't control the car, if it's the future, like what Tom Cruise's
Oh, robot, iRobot.
well, that's what either
Minority
Will Smith's
Report.
iRobot or Minority
So
Report,
good.
where you don't have control of the vehicle and you physically can't. Well, that's the thing. iRobot, he could actually take control of the car.
Yeah, and I would imagine like I know
But-
that the cars are only like prototypes.
Minority Report, you could not take control of the car. So let's say something happens that you physically can't take control of it, it's on the company. If
Yeah,
it's a
I see
vehicle
that.
like now where it's like Teslas, where they can drive on their own, but you still need to be aware and hold the, I say that's on the driver. Because the driver still needs to be, if you can physically control the car at one point or another, I think you need to be aware at all times.
Yeah.
And then that would be on the driver.
So here's the thing. There was an incident with Tesla where a car, the driver was recalling the car to come pick him up, and the car ran a stop sign, and the policeman pulled it over,
And there was no one in there?
and there was no one driving it, and the guy who was driving it was there to see it, and so he, talked to the policeman, and the police officer's like, I don't know what to do. He's like, the car ran a stop sign. You're clearly not in it or controlling it. And so he's like, I don't know what to do. Like, what do you do? Who do you ticket?
Tesla?
The car ran the stop sign, but there's also not a law. There's not a law
Yeah,
that
there's
says
not a
if
law.
your self-driving car runs a stop sign, I have to give it a ticket.
It's crazy, man.
So it's definitely something that there's going to need to be legislation for.
There will be. I was going to say, I think on something small as that, yeah, there's really nothing you can do as a police officer. You just walk away. But if that car ran a stop sign and caused a serious accident that might have killed someone, that there is on Tesla. And even though lawfully they might not be able to get written a ticket, I feel like you can take that to court and the family can sue Tesla for a lot of
Yeah.
money
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
for damages and all that stuff.
Here, but back to his exact question. So you avoided a bus full of kids and killed another driver. What if the car wasn't driving itself and you did it? should you be punished for crashing into the other car and killing somebody, even though the only reason you crashed into them is because you were avoiding hitting a bus?
Well, what were you doing wrong to almost hit the bus in the first place?
What
a
if there was
bus,
nothing?
maybe a bus ran a red light. Right? You got a green light, you're green ahead, and you see a bus coming full speed through an intersection that has a clear red light.
Then I would blame the bus driver.
And you have to steer to avoid the bus driver, and you end up hitting someone on incoming traffic, kill that driver.
I feel like it's process of elimination.
How about act of God? Lightning strike hits a tree falls in front of the bus, inches from it. Bus has to react to avoid the tree falling on it, which causes you to swerve to avoid the bus to hit another car.
Then I feel like it's Final Destination and somebody has to die.
No,
the sacrificial lamb.
I feel at that point it's all accidental.
I don't. Yeah, nobody's at.
Because it's. I just watched like one of those same things on Chicago PD, that TV series or whatever on NBC. Anyways,
was that a plug?
it was. It was. That was a
Send
good
us a
plug.
check.
We want money. Anyways, one of the officers was running, and she witnessed a car accident. Car was driving erratically, ended up going over a bridge into the water, and she ended up diving in, and she had to choose who to grab, and so she ended up grabbing the driver out first because he was unconscious. And as she was getting out, the girl kind of reached for him and reached for her or whatever, and she's like, I'll come back, I promise. And then she went to go back, and she couldn't find the car anymore. Long story short, come to find out, the person who she saved was actually the carjacker who raped this girl and then stole the car and kidnapped her in the process.
Oh, dang.
And then the girl was trying to get out and actually caused the accident, which made the driver unconscious. So she could have saved the girl, and the carjacker and the bad person would have died, and blah, blah, blah. Instead, she saved the carjacker and the rapist, saved his life, and the girl who was the victim in all of this drowned and died.
Jeez.
Dang.
That poor girl.
That sucks.
Like, it's all accidental. And I mean, by the end of the show, she comes to learn that, hey, it's a decision that was made and it was accidental, and she didn't know of the outcome in the beginning and blah, blah, blah. But I would say you could use that same terminology in the same thing where you've got a choice where you hit a bus or you swerve out of the way and accidentally hit a pedestrian. It's all accidental. And
the needs of the many.
You could
outweigh the needs
you could
of the
almost
few.
have the argument of one way or another. You should be able to avoid an accident if you're properly driving the rules of the road. And I say that in the sense of like, they say that if you get rear-ended and pushed up and hit the car in front of you, there's the potential that you could get the ticket because it means that you were stopped too close to the car.
You will get the ticket.
Is it for sure?
Yes, you will get the ticket.
Because you're supposed to leave enough room.
Yes,
but
which I think is 100% BS, because I think the person who caused the accident should be getting the ticket and have their insurance pay for every car involved in that accident.
And I don't know if I would say 100%, just because if the car behind you, like if it's, I don't know, if the car behind you is going like a bat out of hell and then hits you, and you did leave enough space, but because he's going 90 in a 40 type thing, you have no way to plan for that.
Or if it's a truck and you're in a freaking Pinto, just sheer weight and speed just pushes you into the next.
So
and Pintos explode.
that's right.
We did learn that. We did learn that.
But like if everybody's kind of, if the guy's pulling up, he does see it, tries to stop, can't come to a stop fast enough, hits you, but you're like right up close to the car in front of you, so you hit. I don't feel like that's on the guy that hit you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't feel like it's 100%.
I don't know, man. I feel like it's all on the guy that rear-ended the first guy.
Exactly.
You should have been paying attention, you idiot.
That's how I feel. I think a lot of it, though, is in those chain reactions. I want to say, and I could be completely wrong, but I want to say a lot of the times the insurance companies, it's just kind of you deal with yourself. Because basically you're going to be paying a deductible anyways, whether you're fixing someone else's car or you're fixing your car. So I think in the end of it all, it's kind of just one of those things where you just
I've kind of always wondered
care
that
of
with
yourself?
those like pile ups, like how
Like
How
those giant ones where like people are not stopping down hills.
yeah.
Like ice is
Like
taking
ice.
it
yeah,
out.
the snow
Yeah.
ones, and everybody's just going. I think
And it's not
that-
because nobody is necessarily doing anything wrong. It's just ice is taking effect and people are piling up.
I think at that point you get a claim act of nature, and you're
God did that.
and it's just it's
What if
just
you're atheist?
yeah.
Can you still claim that?
I bet they try.
Active universe, not active God.
I don't believe in God, but he did this. Can I have my insurance check now?
All right.
All right, I'm gonna switch gears. I got
Yeah.
a good one.
I've got a couple good ones too before we.
Yours is gonna pale in comparison.
Oh,
I doubt it.
shots
I found some
fired.
good ones.
John Cena
Oh gosh.
is the better wrestler than Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Oh hell no!
Yup.
No.
Yes.
No. This is a plug to get at me, and no, The Rock
It is a plug
better.
to get at you. I just want to see you a little
But
bit
he's just
riled up.
plugging on facts, you
But
know.
I'm just
I
plugging
want to
on
hear
facts.
facts on this. Like, what's your argument? Does Dwayne Johnson have more titles?
Yes.
No, he does
No, wait,
not.
no, he does not. I'm sorry.
So
take
this
that back.
this freaking debate is put to
John-
rest already.
John Cena is a 16-time world champion, where The Rock is
17.
only he's 16.
Is he
He's 16.
16 or 17?
No, he's 16. The record would be 17. He's
You are right.
he's tied with Ric
16,
Flair.
tied with Ric Flair.
Yes. That's what I just said.
You can't see me.
Can't see this.
So does that?
This is where I'm going to use your guys' terminology where wrestling's fake.
Well, I mean,
It's all predetermined. So
there's another word for that.
Shut up, Cam. So he technically didn't win those championships. I mean, it's all
So
What?
your argument is if you were to put John Cena and Dwayne Johnson into a real fight,
The Rock would rip him apart.
I don't know.
Ah, he's a big
doesn't
boy.
John Cena have him by age?
He
Like,
does.
isn't he a
Yes.
younger
He's
guy?
a younger guy.
He doesn't look it.
Don't get
I'll
me
be
wrong. I
honest.
love John Cena.
He doesn't
John Cena
look
would
it.
put up a fight, but Dwayne,
I just,
I don't know, man.
trust me, I want Dwayne to win. I just, coming from you, I feel like it's a very biased.
Here's the thing.
answer.
Here's the thing too. So the Dwayne, let's call him the Dwayne.
the Dwayne.
The Dwayne is
the Dwayne
about
The
4
Rock
inches
Johnson.
taller and 10 pounds heavier at the time that this article was created, whenever that was.
Oh,
He's 39, and John Cena's only 34. 6'1",
so it's a 5-year
250.
difference.
Okay.
We all know what happens in your 30s.
Every year counts.
Every year counts. So I mean, John Cena might as well be finding an old lady. Dude,
On the question was who's the better wrestler. By definition, given the sport that they're talking about, John Cena is the better wrestler because he's got more titles. That's my argument.
No,
Yeah.
that is not a good argument.
okay, so if it's all
That is not a
predetermined,
good- well, no,
why didn't they
here's the thing.
predetermine the Rock to win more?
Here's the thing. There's this guy out there called Jinder Mahal. He won a WWE World Championship.
Okay.
This guy is horrible. Why he got? Oh no, he got this championship because WWE at the time and still is, but they just started working with Middle East back there, Saudi Arabia and stuff like that, working on shows. So they put the title on this guy to start this up with Saudi Arabia, go out there. He actually did this thing and stuff. So it's feeling inclusive and everything like that. Okay. Jerry Lawler, the King, who wrestled Andy Kaufman, who has been in the business for years, is probably a legend in the making and made wrestling what it is today. Helped forge wrestling. You know how many championships he has?
0.
0.
He has 0?
0. And I would argue, and everybody would argue in the wrestling community, that Jerry the King Lawler is 100% 10 times better than Jinder Mahal. In fact, Jerry the King Lawler has more talent in his pinky than this Jinder Mahal guy has in his entire body.
Okay.
So, championships aside, that does not answer anything. That does not answer anything.
So winning the biggest events.
I'm feeling
means
nervous to
nothing.
be sitting by him right now.
I just
when
wanted
you
to
ask who
spark
the
it.
better wrestler is, it doesn't come down to your wrestling ability. I mean, it does. That is a
Doesn't
big
come
factor.
down to being good.
It is a big
comes
factor.
down to-
It is a big factor of in the ring and being able to wrestle. But what also comes down to it is being able to sell the moves, being able to put out that you're hurt, or by being able to do this stuff.
Who's
and
the
be able to
better
sell it.
actor?
In layman terms, yes, who is the better actor?
I'm not saying that to be like a.
Who can be better on the microphone? Who can do the job better as a wrestler?
Okay.
The Rock.
I don't know, man.
Have you heard The Rock's promos? Have you seen him wrestle in these matches? The
saw the
smelt him.
The Rock comes back, and
Only what he's cooking.
I mean, they actually had two fight. I think they fought each other twice, John Cena and The Rock.
Who won?
At WrestleMania. The Rock won the first one. John Cena won the second one.
Well, that's
We're
just rude.
still coming down to.
If I remember right, I don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure.
Let's see.
Let's
that.
see.
Look it up. I know
Find
you have
out.
a buddy who's a huge wrestling fan that wants to call me out some
He'll
of the stuff
probably
I've
listen
said.
to this and text me, I'm sure.
So that's why I'm saying, if I remember right, I believe, yeah.
I don't know,
So
man.
tell us, Richard, who would win, John Cena or The Rock?
There's a
I
lot of
100
accolades on this John Cena guy.
There's
A
nothing
lot of
against
accolades.
There is
Like, a lot
nothing
of them.
against that. John Cena is a great wrestler. In fact, he's up there with the greats, including The Rock. But when you put The Rock and John Cena side by side, I feel like The Rock is just a little bit better than what John Cena is.
The Rock is 4 inches taller. I will say that.
10 pounds heavier.
Is he 10 pounds heavier?
According to what
9
you're-
pounds.
He didn't eat that extra pizza that day.
Or he pooped. One of the two. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
It's a hard discussion, and you
Okay, and I don't know if you'll be able to answer this or not, but are you saying The Rock because he's your favorite, or are you truly thinking?
because you can ask Kara. I love John Cena just as much.
Oh, okay.
I don't know about just as much.
I absolutely
There's
love
not
John
the
Cena.
physical attraction.
Yeah, I don't think there's the
that's
physical.
true. I mean, Dwayne was my first love, so
We know
I love
that.
it. I love it.
Dude, I saw
I love it so
I saw
much.
an interview recently of John Cena, and he's talking about all the memes that are made about him, the "can't see me" memes and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And the host, I can't remember who it is, asks him about it, and he's like, it became my catchphrase because, like, you know, you can't see me, you're not on my level. Like, I'm so far ahead of you that you can't see me. And he's like, the meme community took it by storm, and now I'm invisible. I saw this one video of like a reporter, and she's standing there talking, and she interviews somebody, and she walks back to something, and she turns around, and her hair just whips this guy in the face, and as the hair disappears, it's John Cena, and he's like, and she doesn't even notice him.
Oh my gosh.
It's a real thing.
Yes, it is so funny.
Oh, geez.
That's great.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know. That's a hard one, honestly. Like,
Going off of the last rebuttal of Zach's about the entire performance, then I could definitely see Dwayne. Because even like movie wise, like I hate to say acting, but even acting wise, Dwayne is by far a better actor than John Cena.
if there's a jungle involved.
And, you know, a button up shirt.
Beige shirt.
That's real tight around the neck. Maybe slightly bursting at the seams.
Don't get him
All
riled
right.
up, man. He's going to tell you it's 98 degrees in here soon.
get me all hot and bothered.
Okay. I got a good one.
Okay.
What would you say is the most important music genre?
Beethoven.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
So real quick, sorry, I just want to go back because I don't want to be called out by your friend because I know he wants to. I know he wants to call me out already on something I
Wants
said,
to debate you.
but I was right. The Rock and John Cena are 1-1.
Okay.
Fighting each other.
Yes.
Okay.
WrestleMania 2012, John Cena won, and then WrestleMania 2013, The Rock won, or vice versa.
Now, as far as wrestling goes, do you think Dwayne still has it in him if they were to go again?
Yeah, in fact, there's huge rumors that Rock is coming back for one last match against his cousin Roman Reigns. So,
But I'm talking Cena, not Roman Reigns, not some piddly little rainy guy.
Cena just came back
I
and
don't even
wrestled
know
for
who
like
this
3 months
Roman
over the
guy
summer.
is.
Okay,
It's his
cousin, in
cousin.
the third act, you're gonna take a fall. It's pretty
Okay.
determined.
Man, I don't know.
Anyways,
I don't know.
anyways,
I just had to.
I
had to
know
throw it in there.
my answer is The Rock, and it has nothing to do with my
I do
bias.
love though that you know that it's predetermined and that they have to sell their moves, but you hate that it's called fake. That is funny.
Because it's not fake.
I think it's the definition of fake.
I think
Like-
Now, what is your definition of fake?
It's like in your argument, it's not fake because they are truly out there beating up their bodies,
Yes.
doing
Yeah.
those
They're
stunts, all that
athletes.
kind
They're
of
out
stuff.
there. They're beating themselves up.
We've
They're doing stuff.
experienced it.
I mean, there was just this wrestler the other day. His name's Big E Langston. Anyways, some guy out in the outside of the ring did a suplex on him, belly suplex. It grabs him, throw him over this way. Dude didn't flip him hard enough. He landed right on his neck and broke his neck. Possibly won't be able to wrestle anymore for that.
Oh my gosh.
So
Okay, but I'm not doing this to be a dick, but so if these guys are beating up their bodies doing these stunts and wrestling's not fake, then would you say that like
You know what? Let's agree. They're stuntmen.
they're athletes.
Damn it, man. I was throwing you a bone. Why you got to fight me on this?
So what about like a Tom Cruise movie when he's doing his own stunts and everything, but the movie isn't real?
It's still not fake because he broke his foot on one of his stunts.
But he's not Ethan Hunt.
But he still legit jumped across a roof gap and broke his
So
foot.
the stunts are real, but the performance, like the overall,
We're just trying to understand.
I'm
the way we look at the definition
so
of
let's-
this being fake is that they're claiming that they're actually fighting each other, not predetermined, not telegraphing moves, that they're actually fighting, kind of like MMA or something, right?
Yeah.
They're claiming they're actually fighting, but they're not. Therefore, they're faking a fight.
So let me.
but it's like a rehearsed dance.
So
Yes.
here's what I'm
And
getting
that
at.
But
takes-
claiming to be
that takes
a fight.
physicality and strength and poise and pain.
So
Yes.
let's put it this way: you two were in a wrestling ring with me.
Yeah.
Yes, we were.
How did your bodies feel the next day?
Oh, they hurt.
Okay, then.
But
You
I
were
will
sore.
say,
so would a
they
dancer's
didn't
body
hurt
after.
as much as if somebody did that to me outside on the concrete in an actual fight.
Okay, so yeah, you didn't hurt as much, but still, you put your body through the ringer. You still hurt. You were still sore. Your neck was
I
sore.
can get
My
a
neck
cramp
was sore.
pooping.
But I guess where we call it fake is because it is predetermined. Like a real fight would be
See,
MMA. It
here's
would
the
be
thing.
like where you have two fighters that you do not know the outcome. No one knows the outcome until the end of the round.
Yes, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's what we mean by fake. So they're like,
Here's
it's
the
not.
thing.
We're not slamming
A lot.
we're not slamming WWE and wrestling. It takes skill to do it. It's just that when we say that it's fake, it's not a legit fight. It's a rehearsed, choreographed stunt.
But the whole thing's not rehearsed and choreographed. A lot of times the outcome is predetermined and they know how the match is going to end. Yeah, you're going to hit your finisher move and pin him. A lot of the stuff in between the match is actually focused on the two wrestlers working together. They don't go through this match week after, and practice it over and over
I
again.
don't know, man. I watched that Randy Savage thing, and they said they rehearsed that thing like 30 times.
So
Back in the day.
okay,
But this is now where they have you have
my
a
hands
show
on
on
my
Monday
hips.
night, you have a show on Friday night. You don't have a lot of time to do a lot of stuff in between. So what they do now is, if you notice, and when we did our little wrestling thing, he said a lot of the times they will have conversations in the ring, which I have noticed. So you'll see them, a lot of times they'll go face to face, side by side, and they'll kind of cover their faces a little bit. So where they're talking and they're like, hey man, I'm going to do a hip toss, or I'm going to do this and stuff like that. That's how they work the matches out. So, but the only thing that's predetermined is pretty much the ending. Everything in between is all give and go as it
So
goes.
it's like a rap battle.
Sure.
So I kind of
Where
going
you back, give each other the lines before you.
going back to movies, because that's what I relate to the best. You have a script, but there's nothing stopping that actor from improvising his own lines here and there. And then the actors have to still feed off of each other, even though it's not on the script. But in the end, the movie's going to be made, and the movie itself is a fake thing,
Just fictitious.
right?
How about this? Harlem Globetrotters. Okay.
I love this. Okay, go
Have
on.
you ever seen
Yes.
one of their games?
yes.
Are they real?
No.
But why? They're playing the game. They're running down the court. They're dribbling. They're shooting the ball. They're passing the ball. They're playing basketball.
Yeah.
And it takes incredible
Well,
skill.
and
to
it
do
A
does
lot
it.
of
take
skill and
incredible
athleticism. So why is that not fake?
Okay, I take that back. Sorry.
Ah, I
No.
getcha.
No, you did not. Because in your guys' sense of the thing, yeah, it's not real. It's fake. But there is a lot of skill involved. They're still shooting the ball. They're still doing all
They
this
still
stuff.
can perform incredible tricks,
Yes.
but it's not a real basketball game.
No. Because we all have seen the Harlem Globetrotters actually compete in a real basketball game, and a lot of times
And they
get their
always
butts
play
kicked.
the same team. In green jerseys, nobody knows where they're from.
All I'm getting at, and I wish I could find it. There's someone actually talks about it really well, that they hate the fact that wrestling gets called fake, because yes, it is predetermined. It is this stuff. You do have a lot of predetermined outcomes, but the fact of the matter is what they do to their bodies and what they put their bodies through. It's not fake. They're athletes.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of stuff. They do a lot of physicality. And that's where it's like, that's where the frustration of fake comes in. Because when people say wrestling's fake, they like, even my wife, she called it. Like, for instance, with Big E, he gets flipped over, snaps his neck. She was like, she would have flat out said, oh, they meant that to happen. That's a part of the storyline.
Oh, no.
No.
Accidents
That's
happen.
not, for sure.
Accidents
You know, same thing, like you get put through a ladder. Yeah, the ladder might be a somewhat fake ladder, collapsible ladder. Doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. Doesn't mean it's not going to put their body through the ringer.
In your definition, the pain is real.
Yes.
And that makes it real.
And the physicality of it.
It's not that you're putting two fighters against each other to see who is the stronger, better fighter.
because it's a
the pain
storyline and
that's
it's
real.
a drama, but it's the pain.
So
Yes,
I think
it's what you're putting your body through.
I think the biggest thing we're learning from this and the previous podcast,
Yes.
is honestly like definitions and what words and things mean is crucial.
Yes.
Because right now,
Well, it's
the
at
way,
the
the way
beginning.
you're explaining it, like I completely understand. Like what they're doing is not fake. But for me, what's fake is the facade of what they're claiming it to be. So,
But they've never
a
really
real
claimed it
wrestling
to be,
match-
because if you listen to WWE, they say they are sports entertainers.
okay, see, yes,
So
that makes sense.
So they're cheerleaders.
But everyone,
Sorry. I'm sorry.
That was pretty good, though.
but I mean, in the very essence of claiming that it's real wrestling, I think that's the biggest thing here is the definition. What is actual wrestling, and what they're doing versus what you do in high school when you're wrestling, what you do in the Olympics when you're wrestling, all those things. Compared to that exact word and that exact event, it is faked. They're still being physical, they're still doing things, but they're not actually wrestling using wrestling rules, true wrestling moves, trying to actually beat each other on a purely physical athletic
Yeah.
level.
well, yeah.
Like if it was real, the punch would be a freaking punch.
well, I mean,
it'd be
if
like
it was
black
real,
eyes, blood, like
and you guys all know who Brock Lesnar is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
He went into the MMA.
Well, he fought Rey Mysterio at one point. If you don't know who Rey Mysterio is,
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio's a 5'0"
Yeah.
120-pound lucha libre, Mexican wrestler. He fought Brock Lesnar and won. Real life, that ain't gonna happen.
So see exactly,
we know
and I
that.
think that's where the critics claim, oh, this is fake, because that would not happen in real life.
Yes.
And so I think what happens is it's the disconnect of what the argument is. The one side is saying, oh, it's fake because that wouldn't happen. But then your side is saying, but it's not fake because they're actually doing things that are very physically difficult. And so no one's actually arguing the same point.
Yeah.
And that's where I've admitted, yes, the storyline, it's faked. It's predetermined, it's outcome. That part, I'll call fake, whatever you want. But the actual physicality of it, the wrestling part of it, that stuff, that is not fake.
No one's going to look at The Undertaker and say any of the crap that he's done's fake.
Oh, heck no.
Dude's
he's
jumped
scary.
off of like 3-story buildings and...
No, that's Mankind.
Oh, Mankind.
Yeah,
I'm
Mick,
sorry.
Mick Foley, Mankind. He got
Isn't
thrown.
he the one in the white shirt with the sock hand?
Yeah.
He's the
And he
Oh,
also
he's a
had like the
friggin'
leather
weirdo.
face.
Yeah, that
thing.
dude
he got
was a
thrown
psycho.
off a 2-story Hell in a Cell cage through a
That's
table
the one.
and bit through his lip, lost a tooth, and the tooth got shoved into his nose.
Gosh.
And just basically like they should have ended that match and walked away. But he came back down and wrestled again, got back up on top of the cage and got chokeslammed through the middle of the cage. The cage gave way and he went through onto his back onto a bed of tacks.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
And yeah,
Died?
No kidding.
in the same match, I think he also lost part of his ear too.
You want to? Have you ever seen backyard wrestling?
Dude, those guys are
Those
crazy.
are idiots.
That is ridiculous.
Those guys are idiots.
See, but that's all. I think that's what people really imagine, like real, like no holds barred. There's no safety precautions whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like if I were to hit you for real with a metal chair,
Oh yeah.
you're not gonna get up. I don't care how big you are. A metal hit to a metal chair to the head.
Oh, I'll get up.
Eventually, maybe.
Anywho, I'm sorry. I stole.
No.
Your thing.
This honestly
see.
was great because now we understand each other.
Exactly.
Okay,
So
all right.
again,
And I respect you more, and I respect the sport more. So this was great.
Good.
see,
All right.
We're friends.
that's why communication, proper definitions, words matter. People,
Guys, look at this. See, look, 2 different opinions coming to harmony.
we understand each other.
We disagree, but we agree to disagree.
Yes.
Yep. He might watch it for The Rock. I watch it for the Divas. We differ.
The Rock's not in it anymore, so
So now he watches it for the divas.
Yeah. See, now we're on the same page. Named 2 of my cars after WWE Divas.
Stacy?
Yeah, Stacy Keebler.
yep.
So
Wait, is that the girl from that Nerdy show?
No, you're thinking of Stacy Kuoko. I don't know how to say her name.
okay.
Cow.
I was like, she was a wrestler?
No,
No.
Stacy Keebler dated what's his face?
Tom.
Sheen, Michael. No,
No.
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen for a long
Oh,
time.
did they really?
Yeah, I thought they got married at one point.
Anyways,
So I've got 2 more that I actually kind of researched and stuff, but do we want to call it?
You know what? Let's give those 2 more, but we'll just be quick with our
Okay,
arguments.
quick, fast. So
that's what she said.
30 minutes later.
30 seconds later.
So I asked the question already. What music what genre of music is the most important?
I think depending on who you are. Honestly, I hate classical music. I don't like pop music. To me, rock music is what hits the soul the best, and it means the most to me. It gets my blood flowing, and it gets me amped up.
Man, most important.
Right? What's the most important music?
You just pulled up Stacy Keebler, didn't you?
you know. And now he gets it.
You blindsided me for the whole world to see.
His face.
Gosh, dang it.
That was great.
That was perfect. Stopped in mid sentence.
I don't even know what I was saying. Okay.
Music.
The important question here is, at what point in time are you considering the genre?
That's
That's
the
thing,
research that
think.
I found.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I do take that back because I do love 80s pop music.
See, and
I hate
I mean,
nowadays pop music. Nowadays pop music can go.
I always think more of like Elvis. Like he's not someone I really ever listened to or like
Yeah,
really
but back
care
in
that
the
much about.
60s
but I
or
feel like
50s,
his
whatever it was.
his rock genre, like it moved the world. It changed the scene of music
Yes.
altogether.
Okay, so I'm glad you said that because this is what I was finding is so they who was it? The University of London, the Imperial College of London, and Last.fm. They did this study, and rock and roll always seemed to come out on top as far as just interviewing people and first thought. And the main reason is because of what they call the British invasion. And it was the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and the Who. When they came over, back in the 60s, it was huge. But what they were finding is that, I'm just going to kind of paraphrase a bunch of this, but what they were finding is that rock wasn't anything new. Like when you really break down the Beatles and those guys, they didn't really do anything new because we had Elvis and all those guys as well. The big one, and I didn't like the answer because I'm not a fan of it, but the big one was hip hop. That it was saying, I got to find it specifically here. So they said researchers use the tools of evolutionary biology to analyze the musical characteristics of 17,904 songs released between 1960 and 2010 that charted on the Billboard Hot 100. They found that the development of new sounds and genres progressed at a fairly even pace, save for 3 distinct periods of rapid growth. Those 3 periods, the first was in 1964, around that British invasion, when the Beatles, the Who, and Rolling Stones burst into the scene. The second came in 1983 with the heyday of the new wave and disco. And then the third and the largest came in 1991 with the rise of hip hop. And basically it was just saying that what hip hop did in the 90s has changed music and continues to change. And that's why hip hop is the best genre. The most important is because what it did to music and what it's continuing to do to music.
Hip hop in the 90s, I can agree with that. Hip hop nowadays is trash.
Some of it.
All of it.
Not all of it. There is some garbage, but there is a lot of good. I love hip hop today.
I can't do hip hop today. Unless it's Eminem, but would you consider him hip hop?
Rap, hip hop.
Rap, hip
What's the
hop is
difference
kind of
between
the...
rap and hip hop? Are they the same? Are they considered the same?
It kind of puts them in the same, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it. It
'Cause
all
me-
stems from like rock and roll. I would almost imagine.
I mean, because you could put the same thing into it too. A lot of people credit for rock and roll. A lot of people credit Metallica. What Metallica did for the music scene is beyond.
More heavy metal. I mean, it's still rock and roll,
Yeah.
but...
Well, I mean, like if you go back to
See, but even Metallica,
Even-
they base their success off of Black Sabbath. Like
Yeah.
I mean, it goes back and back and back, but I think a lot of the root comes from probably a rock and roll standpoint because a lot of it's going to have that beat of a drum, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's almost
And so like, that's where like the 808 tracks come in and, you know, and you got like the different, but it's all on a rhythm and that's all done by a drum. And I would imagine that all comes back from rock.
Well, I mean, if you argue drums, you could go back to the Revolutionary War with them drumming to the beat of them marching.
Yeah.
so drums are the most influential instrument.
Instrument, not music genre.
There could be just drums, drum line.
See, and
Yeah.
I kind of
Nick
like...
Cannon just got pissed.
Yeah, dude, he killed it.
Those
See,
weren't his hands, by the way.
Of course not.
And
They were
my
busy somewhere else.
I'm with Zach as far as most important to an individual. Me, I would pick rock because rock is the music that I like. It's what gets me pumped, whatever. It relaxes me. And so in my own personal opinion, rock is the most important. But this is more saying as far as like most important in history is hip hop because
And I
just
can see that
revolutionized
because
it.
you look at what the Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
You look at what Beastie Boys did for the music industry, and
Yeah.
they changed a lot. And they're classified under hip hop.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I mean, but yeah, you look
Man,
at
I hated the Beastie
oh,
Boys.
I love the Beastie Boys.
I didn't like them until later. Like and not all their music, just like some of their more popular songs.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh, it's cool.
I like
Man,
the
I-
Beastie Boys, but
I
yeah, you
cannot
look at
stand
what they
them.
did for the music industry, and they're pioneers.
Yeah.
I would say they're pioneers in that
They are.
80s, 90s music
I'll
history.
respect it, but I don't like it.
That's how I feel about a lot of country.
Yep.
I respect that they
Ain't
play
nobody
their
like
own
country.
instruments and write their music, but don't like it.
I can't say that. I like country. Well, some.
See, and that's some of the hip hop out there. It's like some of the hip hop artists, rappers, they are lyrical geniuses.
Yes.
But then you've got others that are just your Mickey Mouse Club. I can't play an instrument. I barely have a good voice.
Need
Thank
an
goodness for
auto-tuner.
auto tune. Like,
See, and
and
that's
yet they're
why-
out there making millions.
That's
not
why
even-
I've always-
Like the Island Boys.
Island Boys, Island Boys. Absolute garbage.
Oh,
like
horrible.
And to think that you're actually good. Like, come on.
They were blasted out of
They
their
were
minds, man.
oh,
Did you
yeah.
see them? They
Oh,
thought they
yeah.
were good for
So
sure.
dumb. But I mean, that's how I've always been with music. Is like I've always had more respect for the bands, and so a lot of like rock and roll and punk rock and pop punk and stuff like that because they did it all themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I had
They're
the respect for
creating
their
the
talent,
music, yeah.
their creation, all that stuff, and that's why I've never been a huge fan of like pop because it's
A lot of it's
to me it's
created
all
by
made
someone
up.
else.
Exactly, it's all
Yes.
made up. Somebody else wrote the songs for them.
Yes.
Somebody else created the track for them.
In
Like,
fact,
Unless you're
even,
Eminem.
yeah,
even like
Does
Katy.
he create his own music?
I don't know about
he
the beats,
does.
but I know he writes it
Yeah.
all.
Oh,
He does
yeah.
not have
Yeah.
a ghostwriter. He is very
yeah.
proud of that.
I think even Katy Perry came out one time and said that like all of her hits, they were written by someone else.
yeah,
Yeah.
And then sold to her or whatever, and she made, or they were written just for her. But
yep.
Yeah.
And even Sia is actually like a pop artist that I really enjoy her because I found out that she was a music writer and wrote her kind of breakthrough song. I think it was Chandelier. She wrote that for Rihanna, and Rihanna passed on it. And somebody was like, "You have a good voice. Why don't you sing it?
Yeah.
Like sing it." And but she's deathly afraid. Like she has, what is it?
Dysmorphia, body dysmorphia.
No, well, I don't know if she might. She has massive stage fright.
Oh,
She hates being on stage in front of people. And that's why she wears all those crazy outfits, like covers her face. You can't even see her anytime she performs. But like, I think her voice is cool and unique. And like, she writes her own music.
Interesting.
the most important is punk rock from the 90s and 80s,
The
baby.
pop punk.
Got that offspring.
Dude, so good. No, and that guy's
Last
got a
one.
PhD.
All right.
I think it's
Last
funny.
one because we're
I
losing
need to
it.
drive
Yes.
to California in the morning.
All right, last one. Are video games unhealthy?
No.
Oh,
yes,
agree to disagree. We're done.
So
Present your talking points, sir.
I can't think straight. I got a full bladder. I'll be right back. Go ahead. No, go ahead. All this.
oh, okay. I actually found this on WebMD. However
Dude,
trustworthy
it does not
that
give
is.
you cancer.
However trustworthy that is. WebMD says video games are healthy as long as they are done in moderation.
that's
Like all
was going
things.
to be my argument.
So the facts are the mental stimulation, almost every part of your brain is working when you are achieving high levels, things like that.
Helps your hand-eye coordination.
Yep. Playing video games works on deeper parts of your brain. Your feeling of accomplishment. So when you earn badges, trophies, things like that, you've got the feeling of accomplishment. It just improves your just overall well-being in that sense. It says your mental health recovery, regardless of the type, video games can act as a distraction from pain and psychological trauma. It helps people dealing with mental disorders like anxiety, depression, ADHD, and PTSD. The social interaction, you can play online, you can play with your friends, things like that. The emotional resilience, video games teach people how to fail and then recover. It teaches you despite what people may think, playing video games boosts your mood and has lasting effects. Teaches you to keep trying after you fail.
Wow.
It's
Play more video games.
right. The strategic side of it, role playing and other strategic games can help strengthen problem solving skills. There's little research that says violent video games are bad for your mental health. Almost any game that encourages decision making and critical thinking is beneficial for your mental health. But then it kicks in. You have to set limits though. It was saying spending too much time. Let's see, where is it? It gave like a specific, right here. More than 10 hours per week is considered excessive. In these cases, you may have anxious feelings, unable to sleep, and not want to be in social settings. So as long as you're playing in moderation, less than 10 hours a week, video games can actually be healthy for you.
I agree.
I could have told you that.
Yup.
No,
Honestly,
I actually
I was dumbfounded because I thought, some of those, especially depending on the video game, but it specifically says first person shooters and stuff. The violence of it isn't actually as unhealthy as you think because you're more thinking strategically. You're not focusing on the actual violence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I actually did a study on this back when I was in college, and basically, I don't remember everything, but I had this big, huge old paper that I wrote. And the big takeaway was that at the time, there was probably another high school or another school shooting. I can't remember. And the culprit was video games. It was a common theme for
Wasn't
a while.
that around
They
Columbine?
always tried to blame
Columbine was
video
well
games.
before then,
Oh.
but
Columbine was blamed on Marilyn Manson and
One of them though, I remember that because they pulled the fire alarm and just started shooting, and they blamed the first person shooters because they were just doing it just like a video game.
yeah, I don't remember
Because the
which
video game is made to mimic real life.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember the school shooting that happened or anything like that, but I remember researching it and going kind of heavy into it because at that time I was also very much into Call of Duty. Specifically, I think it was 2 and 3. But anyway,
Good ones.
yeah, they're so good. And basically everything that it boiled down to was that all the test subjects that sat down that had aggression or problems with I can't remember the word.
ADHD and
But just
OCD.
just being super upset all the time. Just
Anger management.
yeah, anger management, having all those issues. They found that after playing, their frustration levels, their anger levels, everything was a lot lower. And they did it on a scientific level, measuring brainwave activity and your serotonin levels and all that stuff in your brain. And so I was like, there it is. I knew it, because if I'm ever having a rough day and I sit down to play video games, dude, I feel so much better afterward. It's it's like a vent session almost.
yeah.
Yeah, they've done studies with Tetris specifically, where if you can't sleep, like you're thinking too much, you got too much on your plate, you're stressed out, you're thinking about all the stuff going on. If you play like 10 minutes of Tetris right before bed, it completely clears your mind because it forces your brain to put all its energy into, I believe, your prefrontal cortex, like the problem solving area of your brain. And it doesn't allow you to think about those other things because you're focused on putting these little blocks in the right place and organizing them. So it clears up your mind and you can go right to sleep. But also, they've studied it in trauma victims and people who experience extreme trauma. If they play Tetris, like almost immediately after experiencing this trauma, same thing. It pushes out all the traumatic like thoughts and memories and things, pushes them away so that they actually get past this trauma a lot faster.
Wow.
And
That's awesome.
it doesn't deep seat like it would without it because it's a good distraction and frees you up.
And it's not just a temporary blocker. It actually pushes it out.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Think of it like
amazing.
it's almost like it's stopping it from taking root. The
That's
thoughts and the memories
amazing.
and stuff. Yeah, it's wild.
Have you played the new Tetris?
No, I did after reading that study. Like,
Well, there's a new Tetris that you can get on. I know it's on Xbox because that's where we have it. We have it installed upstairs, but it's awesome.
Really?
Like it has all these really cool interaction things going on in the background, and it's meant to be audibly enjoyed. So it's got really
Nice.
cool music and effects that go to the music, and it gets your brain into a rhythm.
Well, even
And-
just the original Tetris, even that music, I still have that song in my head.
Oh, dude,
I'm
this
singing it
is
right
like-
now. It's a Russian like classical song.
It's seriously next level. Like you're meant to wear 7.1 headphones with it because it takes you into a different place. It's amazing. I love watching Jess play it because she's really good at it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Zach, thoughts?
No,
He's like, I just want to go home.
I just want to go to bed.
That does make me feel better though, because Micah, I've always been really hesitant about screen time with Micah being only 3 right now,
Right.
and so I'm like, I don't know if she should
Well,
be playing video games, but like Mario Kart, we don't let her play it all the time, but she'll play Mario Kart and she'll have the little handicap adjustments where it like steers kind of like it doesn't let her fall off the level, and she is growing quickly. I'm learning how to like control it and move it. And so it's awesome because you can see the mental pieces kind of coming together.
See, and that's why I wish, because like Cam, you and I, we were kind of talking about it a little bit, that you can almost get a different vibe out of your kids when they've had too much screen time, whatever it may be. And I get that from my kids. And I'm like, according to this, they should feel better, but I feel like I get a worse attitude out of my kids after they've been on it.
The issue is
think
it's
it's
how
enough.
longer they stay.
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
it.
And I was going to say that this says, limit less than 10 hours a week, but I'm sure it depends on the age. As a younger person, I would assume that would be a little less, not to mention the game. So they love Minecraft, and
Minecraft is great.
I'm trying to think positively. Minecraft is great for those creativities. I mean, some of the stuff they build, I'm like, that's actually really impressive, and I'm proud of them for that. But there's no effort. There's no actual challenge.
Yeah.
At least for them, because they like to just play in
'cause they go
creative
in
mode.
creative mode.
Yeah.
You disable it.
Jude likes to actually play survival a lot, but all in all, I'm like, let's branch out, play some games that actually give you a challenge. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the biggest thing is just like everything, all things in moderation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, yeah, it's one of my favorite things about playing video games is when you get stuck on something crazy difficult and you cannot beat it, you go to sleep, your brain fixes the problem through the night, you wake up the next morning and beat it instantly. Never fails. And like it just shows you like it's giving your brain something to work on. It wants to find the solution. Even the music is designed to drive you forward. So it's really good to listen to game music when you're trying to get tasks done because it pushes you forward.
And I hate to keep dragging this on, but my other argument is they say you're not supposed to be on a screen right before bed because like the lights and stuff like that. Now your brain is running and you can't actually like go into that deep sleep. But I don't
That's
know.
blue light. You can counteract that with glasses or night shift.
Is it really only blue light that does that?
It's a
Blue
lot
light
of
it
it.
simulates sunlight and it makes your brain. It throws off your circadian rhythm, makes
Yeah.
and
That's
your
why-
melatonin production.
That's why a lot of the phones nowadays come with a nighttime mode.
Yep,
Yeah,
the night
yeah.
shift and
Yeah,
stuff.
Mine
the night
does that.
shift.
Like
So
that
it kinda
guy-
turns
that
a
guy on-
yellowish color on your phone.
That guy on Joe Rogan that was talking about sleep, he mentioned like staring at your phone right before bed can set back your melatonin production by like 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
So
Huh.
so if you're doing it, use some blue light glasses, put on a night shift, whatever.
Oh, awesome. This was fun.
Yeah.
This was, I thought this was a pretty deep debate
Yeah.
episode.
Way deeper than I was
liked
expecting.
it.
More
We-
better than like pancakes or waffles.
Waffles.
Waffles. That's no debate.
Pancakes.
Okay.
Thanks for being part of this crowd. And we love you all so much. We'll see you here next week with our buddy Chris as well.
Oh man.
But
Love having you
be
guys.
sure to.
Unless it gets put out of place, then we'll be here in 2
Yeah.
weeks with Chris.
Who knows? We'll see.
I guess you guys will find out when it happens.
Yep.
If you're still listening at this point, make sure you like and subscribe. Join if you can. Anything helps. We would love to be able to start doing this full time, putting out more episodes than just
Yeah.
one a week.
A lot of you guys.
Yes.
I have seen so many comments in the last probably like 2 weeks. Like, I hate that you guys only post once a week. You guys are my weekly escape. And
Dude, I would love a morning show.
dude, that is like seriously the biggest goal of ours is we would love to do a morning show where literally it's like cut and dry to like no editing, no nothing. We're just live and go.
That'd be
But,
awesome.
We
Have
can't,
like a TV on and we're like, oh dang, something's happening.
what just happened?
We're gonna go out to Zach with Chopper 5.
So help us get there, guys. Share us with your friends, your family. And seriously, ratings, everything helps.
Yep. Love you all. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Morning,
for being part of
whatever
this
you're listening to
crowd.
this.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.